How you doing, and welcome to my channel. Now today I have something very exciting in front of me. Today I have the DX08 Joker by Hot Toys, fully sealed, factory sealed, as you can see there, completely sealed in his box for the last 14 years, locked away in this box since 2011. I've been holding off on getting this guy because I did hope that Hot Toys would make a 2.0 of this, but as a lot of people know, rumour has it that Jack Nicholson does not give out his likeness anymore, so I bit the bullet and got my hands on a factory sealed DX08 that's never been opened. So let me grab this knife and we will just open him up and we'll get him out of the box. Like I said, locked away in this box for many years, so we'll get him out and we'll see what kind of condition he's in. Fingers crossed he's all brand new. Now this white paper here I've never actually seen before. Not my memory serves me correctly, I've never seen the white paper wrapped around a Hot Toys box before. So here we go for the Joker. Now, as you can see from the box there, we have, just let me move all that out of frame there. As you can see, we have an image of the Jack Nicholson as the Joker. That's kind of a piece of artwork. That's not the figure. And we have a couple of smaller images and then the Joker DX08 written on the front. Really nice looking cover for the box. And then on the back, a little bit bland, just some information about Hot Toys and then the usual warnings about the figure. So let's get them opened up here and see what we have. And some more of that white paper. Now that clear kind of image there at the front, that round thing at the front, is something that you're supposed to kind of shine a torch on. And it projects an image of the Joker onto the front, onto the ceiling or whatever, your wall or whatever. That foam is stuck to it. That's loose on a lot of figure, on a lot of DXs, that sheet of foam, but it's actually stuck to the back of that. But there we go for that front cover anyway. So there we have the Joker in his box. And just looking at him straight off the bat, I don't see any issues. Let me get that card out of the way. And there's the first tray there with the hands and the hat and the figure. And just first, yeah, like I said, just let me pull this tray out here actually. And we'll see what's behind that. If I can get it out nice and gently. We have the second tray there with all of his accessories and his base. So what I'll do is I'll get all of these pieces out and we'll have a look at what kind of condition the figure and all of the accessories are in. He looks, so far, he looks brand new. He looks unscathed. He doesn't look like he has succumbed to any issues at all over the last 14 years. So let's have a look at all of the accessories. Just another thing on the inside of the lid of the box that I wanted to show you was this little monologue about the Joker. If I can just get it all into frame there, you can pause that and read it yourself. Small little monologue about the Joker, and yeah, it's a nice little touch just to have that on the inside of the box. Kind of adds to that, DX-ness of it. I do miss those DX boxes with the foam on them, I really do. With the foam inserts and what you have to go through to open them. But I just want to record kind of it's first taking them out of foam, just in case there's any issues, or just to get a first impression of them taken out a brand new, never been taken out of a box before DX08, which is, I'd say at this stage, is a rarity. He's kind of stuck in there a little bit. It's not the easiest to get out. Nice and gently does it. And there we go. We have some plastic on his chest there, and the plastic over his head. It's stuck. There we go. And everything looks good there. All looks good. Everything looks fresh and clean. Everything looks in order and looks absolutely fantastic. So far so good. And just looking at his hat there, there's no degradation there on the hat. It all looks good. I've seen pictures of this guy where the hat has faded over the years, but yeah, everything looks absolutely fine. The hands all seem to be as they should, and there is some, oh, his hat is after falling off. There we go. He has this kind of cardboard running up the inside or the back of his leg. I'll just try and get those out there. Hopefully there's no issues with pulling them out. This one's a bit stiff, not the easiest to get out. Come on, it's fighting with me. And there we go. Cardboard insert number 1, and this one's easier on cardboard insert number 2. So there we have him. First impressions out of the box. He looks absolutely fantastic. No issues so far, so good. No degradation by the looks of it. Looks absolutely fantastic. So, like I said, we'll go through all of his accessories. Actually, what I'll do is, in my usual fashion, we'll just do a quick pan down of him before we get into the accessories. And here we have him here. As I said, there seems to be no degradation, no fading of any paint, no materials have faded. Everything looks absolutely spot on with him. So far, so good. And just looking at his base there, it says the Joker MMS DX on it, which I thought was unusual. I thought it would have said DX08, but it just says MMS DX. But the bat symbol on the base, and just moving back up for a quick look at the sculpt, and everything seems to be spot on. So I'm just going to go through the accessories as quick as I can, guys, because I know this is your least favorite part of my reviews, according to the analytics. Just a quick look at the hat. His hat is kind of a velvety kind of material. It's like it's been flocked, and it has the black ribbon around this, wrapped around it there. Like I said earlier, no degradation after all these years. The flocking or nothing has come off on it. You know, it looks absolutely fantastic. We'll have a look at that on him a bit later on. Next up, we have his lotus flower that clips onto both of his jackets. Then we have his revolver that he uses in a scene in the movie where the bang sign comes out of it. Can you pull this out? Yeah, you can. So you can pull that out and use it as a regular revolver if you like. And then we have the teeth that when Batman punches him at the end of the movie, he throws that on the ground and they chatter away. And as you can see there, they're on a spring and they do chatter. So that's quite a nice little touch. Then we have his Joker card. I think there's a couple of them in there. I'm not sure. There's either 1 or 2 in there. I'm not going to open them because I won't be using them. Then we have two stacks of $100 bills, and there's quite a few in there. Let me just slide one out there and we'll have a look at it. And they look the part. Not something I'll be using either. And then next up we have this device here. Now I can't remember off the top of my head what he uses this for. I'd have to look back at the movie. I can't remember what he uses that for. Then we have the mask that he uses in the movie, in the museum scene that he gives to Vicky Vale. And does he use that at the end of the movie when he's at the parade and he releases the gas into the streets? I think he does. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But you can see it's quite detailed. There's the vents there, and it's exactly like it is in the movie. Then we have his cane. Now, I think this cane is a little bit short. I might be wrong, but it just seems a little bit short. Then we have his megaphone that he uses to communicate with Batman when he's in the helicopter right before he goes off to the parade. And then we have the device that he uses during the parade when he lets the gas out of the balloons. Now in the movie the aerial is quite long. That's a little bit short compared to the one in the movie, but it does have all the right little details in it and some buttons. The same with this device here. There are some buttons and that on it, and there is a little bit of wash in the kind of speaker part of it. Then we have his long revolver that he uses to take out the Batwing. And there is the working mechanisms in it, you know. This part does open. I hope I'm not wrong. Yep, there we go. This part does open up, and there are some rounds in it as well. And the hammer works as well. Nice little bit of detail there. There's no wash in it at all. It's just solid. Now that revolver there has a bit of wash in it and a bit of wear on it. This one here has no wash. It's just a solid black. Then moving on, we have his hands. We have pointing finger hand, kind of a gesturing hand. It's not really a gripping hand, it's just a gesturing hand. We have his gripping hand there for the revolver. We have another open palm hand. And then we have two spread fingered gesturing hands, more kind of open palmed. And then he has two relaxed palms on him as well. Just looking back at the movie, I think those gloves should be a slightly darker tone of purple, but not the end of the world. And then we have his alternate jacket. Is this the jacket he wears most of the time throughout the movie? I think he does. It definitely wears this in the first scene when he offs Jack Palance, his boss, at the start of it. He's wearing this one and it's buttoned up. And it just has that plastic on it there to keep it all in shape. And he obviously does have his other jacket on him as well that he has on in other scenes. So, as I said, quick run through of all of the accessories. So moving on, and we'll take a look at the figure itself. And here we have the Joker straight up as he comes out of the box. And in my usual fashion, we will start from bottom to top. And we'll have a look at his footwear and just taking a look at his shoes that he's wearing. Movie accurate shoes. You can see he has got a pair of socks on him there as well. No wash or weathering in them, but not a huge relief in the lace either. We have to bear in mind during this review, this is an old figure. This is 2011. Like I said, no wash in them, no weathering in them. I don't think it's necessary. We have Hot Toys and DC branding on the soles of the shoes, as they usually are. Yeah, not the highest relief in the shoes. And the ankles, given the age of the figure, the ankles aren't the stiffest. They're not entirely, as stiff as a modern figure would be, but they will do the job. He does stand up freely. Moving up to his trousers, completely movie accurate print on the trousers. They do have the correct pattern on them. They're a little bit thick. They're a little bit tough to kind of get to play ball, to get them to sit in a more natural kind of flowing position. You can see they're flared out a little bit at the bottom there just to go over his shoes. But yeah, they're a little bit thick. The material could have been done with, it being a little bit thinner so they could have a more natural flow. There is a fat suit on them as well that goes down to just this line here, and you can kind of see it through the trousers. In certain poses you can most definitely see it. It does kind of bunch up right at the fat suit. You can see where it bunches up right at the fat suit there where it ends, so you can kind of tell where the fat suit ends. Not a deal breaker. I do personally think that they were very generous to Jack Nicholson with the fat suit. I think Jack Nicholson was a little bit more plump, a bit more of a belly on him in this movie, if I'm not mistaken. But they've kind of fat suited him out, but they haven't fat suited him out as maybe not as much as they should have for accuracy. No weathering on the outfit whatsoever. Absolutely not necessary at all. It's not required to have any weathering on this figure at all. He was very clean in the movie, right up until the end anyway, obviously. And the trousers go quite high, they ride quite high, which they did in the movie. And then we have his alternate jacket, or his jacket that he's wearing out of the box. Now this jacket is more iconically from the museum scene and from the final scene, if my memory serves me correctly. But it'd be most iconically, in my mind, from the museum scene. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's wearing this one at the end of the movie when he's with in the church with fighting Batman. And he has all the buttons in the right places on the cuff there and on the back. The stitching is quite nicely done as well for the year that it was done. And we have some more buttons at the front here. And we have this little hole here for the lotus flower to slot into. And a little pocket here. These are glued down. The collars there are glued down just to keep them all in shape, which is nice. Just keeps everything all in the right position. The length of the sleeves is okay, but I do recall, if I remember the movie correctly, he did have more of the orange cuff revealed, in the movie. There seemed to be more scenes where I can remember you can see the orange cuff coming past the sleeve of the jacket. Maybe if I futz with it a little bit, I might be able to get more of that orange to show up. On the inside, we have his waistcoat. Color seems accurate. What's in it? Oh, he has braces on there. That's I've never seen that before. I never knew that he's wearing the brace, but he's wearing his braces there as well, as you can see there, and they are made of pleather, but there is no degradation on them. But yeah, it's nice that he has them. I never expected him to be wearing those braces, because you just absolutely won't be seeing them. 4 buttons there at the front, movie accurate buttons, with the card suits on them. It's got the ace, the hearts, the spades, and the clubs on the buttons, which is a detail I hadn't noticed before or noticed in the movie. Then we have his bow tie. I think he wears a couple of different bow ties throughout the movie, but we only get the one. We only get this one. But if my memory serves me correctly, he wears different ones throughout the movie. At least another one anyway to this one. Not tied up in the best fashion. It's a little bit sloppy, but it's not the end of the world. But it just about does the job. On his shirt there, you can see he has buttons on the shirt as well, on this bright orange shirt that just pops. But it's just showing its age a little bit. The collar is just a little bit oversized. It's best to just try and hide the collar with the bow tie, because the collar is just slightly oversized, and the stitching on the collar is a little bit oversized as well. So there we have the majority of them there. The clothing. What I'll do is I'll pop the other coat on him, and we'll have a look at him. We'll have a look at him with the other coat on, and just kind of see what that looks like on him. And here we have him in his alternate coat, or his main coat, really. I think he's wearing this coat in most of the scenes in the movie. Something that I forgot to mention as well there is... Oh, there's a bit of thread hanging out. I'll have to snip that. Something I forgot to mention on this one. There is a wire running up this one. Just up this area here. There's a very thin wire in this coat. And this coat here doesn't seem to have any wires in it at all. But there we have him in his alternate coat. You can see I put different hands on him there, and I put the hat on him as well, and the lotus flower. It's tough to decide what way I'd pose this guy, to be honest with you, whether I'd put the other coat on him or not. I think I might pick up a third party one somewhere and try and do an alternate pose one with a third party version of this guy. There's no way I'm picking up another version of this Hot Toys DX08. I did pay a pretty penny for this guy, and I don't think I'd be picking up another one used or brand new. Even used ones are expensive. A little bit of futzing needs to be done with him just to kind of get the coat up over his shoulders. And as for the tailoring, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is a 2011 figure. It's an old figure. But the tailoring is absolutely fine. I've no complaints about the tail. Okay, the collar is a little bit oversized and the stitching is a little bit oversized on the collar. But apart from that, the tailoring is absolutely fantastic. The lotus flower is a little bit big in my opinion. It's a little bit inaccurate in its size. It should be a slight bit smaller. but not the end of the world. So there we have him there. So what I'll do is I will get in close on this head sculpt and we'll get as much detail in as we possibly can. And here we have the head sculpt, and immediately straight off the bat, I have to say it again, guys, this is 2011, and to be honest, it doesn't look like 2011, with the exception of the hair not being as defined or as good as it could look in a modern sculpt. But the sculpt is absolutely fantastic. It looks amazing for the time frame that it was made. Just looking at his neck there, you can see that he does have some aging done, and you know, some wrinkles in his neck that Jack Nicholson had at the time. You can see all at the side, he has all, the neck is all wrinkled and the skin is bunched up. Jack Nicholson was no spring chicken when this movie was made. And yeah, the details are all there. It looks absolutely fantastic. We have his teeth, which are done really, really well. I think they look really nice. They're quite defined and detailed. The paint work is done really, really well. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, his lipstick was a little bit thicker in the movie. The figure could have done with a slightly thicker line of lipstick for this, you know, for the figure, but not a deal breaker. Even the crow's feet, you can see at the side of his face. I hope the camera's picking up on that. I'm trying to kind of tone it down a bit because of the white face, so I want you to see some details, you know. But you can see the crow's feet there in the corners of his eyes, which looks absolutely fantastic. And he has a little bit of a darkness around the inside of his eyes. You can see there now. If memory serves me correctly, the darkness in his eyes in the movie was just a little bit more purplish or bluish hint to it. If I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look back. But it's there. He has a little bit of darkness on the inside of his eyes. And the likeness to Jack Nicholson, to me, is absolutely there. There's no disputing, obviously, because he's dressed up as the Joker in the 89 Batman, there's no disputing who he is. And any inaccuracies in the sculpt would be hidden by the fact that he has all the makeup on him anyway, because we know immediately who he is. He has his famous Jack Nicholson overarched eyebrows on him there, which to me are pretty spot on. They're on point for Jack Nicholson. And then you can see the detail, the creases in his forehead. Not overly done. The texture to the paint as well is really nice. It does look like it looks like it has face makeup on rather than just this paint lathered onto his face. It does look like there's face makeup on. You can see even where it starts to blend in there at the hairline, where it shades, you know, just where it meets the hairline. Looks really nice. Looks done really well. And then moving around to his hair, like I said, it is a bit flat. It's not the most defined hair in the world. You can see it's split there to take the back off. You can see it's not the most, there's a bit of detail at the bottom there. It's a bit more defined at the bottom there. It's a little bit flat. And a lot of it's to do with the fact that it is, you know, 2011, and they had to, you know, make allowances for the hat to be able to go on his head as well. So they made it as flat as possible. Just looking at the top there, you can see, again, it's not the most defined. It's a little bit flat, and there is just a little bit of a seam line just running up it there. But yeah, because the hat has to go on his head, it has been flattened. On the back, we have a separate piece that comes off. I've never taken this off yet, so hopefully it comes off without any trouble. There we go. And we have the old school single piers, you know, moving system. You know, the one bar for moving both eyes, which a lot of people know tends to go faulty and make the figures look a bit cross-eyed, and one eye will move or one eye won't, or they'll go and they won't move at the same time. So I am not going to be touching that at all. My one gripe is the hair going over his ears. When he's not wearing the hat, you can see that bit of hair kind of going over his ears, and it just doesn't look great. But again, like I said, we have to make allowances for the hat going on his head. Absolutely fantastic. I do not regret spending the money I spent. I'll say it again, I don't think we're going to be getting an officially licensed Jack Nicholson Joker figure ever again as it stands. So there you have it, guys. There is the Hot Toys DX08 Joker from the 1989 Batman movie. Sealed in its box for 14 years and has come out of box just like it was made yesterday. So I'll leave you with some pictures, guys. Please don't hesitate to hit that like and subscribe button. I will be adding this figure to my Forgotten Figures playlist, even though I don't think he is a forgotten figure because there isn't a 2.0 or anything. But I still, because of the age of it, I will be sticking it in my Forgotten Figures playlist. So thanks a lot, guys, and take care and keep your eye out for future content.